We want to pull you together and talk about the two big ideas from each breakout session. And the thing that I mentioned to Kevin was I'm going to go around and collect all the sticky notepads and list from each group what were their ideas, problems, and so forth, and we'll send it out to you because something could click along the way, or it could trigger an idea for you or for your CCC and location and so forth. So we'll get that sent out to all of you. So with that in mind, we have a spokesperson from each group. And so what I'm going to do is, since I was in the Western group, Andrea, we're going to start with you. Andrea Olson is going to be the spokesperson for the Western group.
So we were in the Western North Dakota group. We circulated around the room. We identified unique problems and challenges that different groups would face. The two big ideas that we had walking out of that group was any type of event where we can have a rapid response approach to completing this survey or the census would be ideal. We thought that this was applicable for new Americans, immigrants, oil field workers, anywhere where we can get people together in a group where they'd feel that peer pressure to complete the census, but also know that, they're doing it together, they're just got to do it and get it over with type of a thing. And we talked about people being able to complete the census both electronically online. So if you're hosting an event, having the necessary technology available to do so. And then where's Scott? Scott's great idea of a reverse phone bank, because the census does have the ability to offer the census in a multitude of languages. And I understood that each language has their own phone number. Is that correct?
Vicki, is that correct?
That each language has their own census phone number?
Yeah. Of the 12
Okay. Oh, my. Okay. 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 Perfect. And let's see, where did Kirsten go? We talked about the importance of food. There she is, right back there. Food, yes. Just trying to incentivize people to come. Did I miss anything? People from my group did okay? Got a thumbs up? Okay, great. Thank you.
And something that was also mentioned is you can do both. You can have the online with food. You can get even more. All right. How about that was from
That was Western ND, so
Western ND. So now we're going to have Western Big City. Who's the spokesperson?
Hello, I'm Erica White. I work for Burleigh County, North Dakota in the auditor's office. So our two ideas that we got from our breakout sessions was a social media selfie filter, because everybody from 3-year-olds to 90-year-olds are using selfie filters. We thought it could say, I counted #2020 census. All ages and demographics are using those filters on social media. Even if they don't use it and post it to their social media account, they still see it as they're, swiping through to see the dog filter, the bunny filter, or whatever. Linda! Who doesn't know what a selfie filter is? Okay. So you get your camera on your phone. They joked that I was going to have to demonstrate this. So you get your camera on your phone, you turn it forward facing so you look at it, and then there's a button where you can turn into a dog, you can, I don't know, pretty filters. You can give yourself freckles, big eyes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, You can wear aviators. Does airbrushing for you. I mean, there's the options are endless, but yeah, it can. Exactly. Okay. So now we all know what a selfie filter is.
It's what I
Okay.
use for my dating profile.
Everyone take note. Yeah. Okay. Woo. All right. And then we all thought it was very important to use local trusted voices in the community to deliver messages, whether you're in big cities, rural areas, reservations. We thought that it was very important to have somebody local and trusted deliver those messages for the census. Give them the facts, the financial impacts that the census has on the community, and keep it simple and to the point. If you ramble on too much, people's eyes start to glaze over and you miss the message completely. So that's what we got.
My name's Sharon Brady. I work for MHA Nation, and Braden and I, who was up here earlier, and Gabrielle, we're kind of co-tackling the census on MHA Nation. For tribal, we narrowed down to 3, if that's okay. Okay. One was free food. Everyone loves free food, and feeds for us are a big thing. And then on top of that, we were kind of thinking maybe like door prizes or, other things to entice them to come in. One of the things while we were talking is like, we're struggling, like how do you reach an already, how to reach an already hard to reach community, with all the low income and poverty. Our second one was messaging through all types of assistance programs like SNAP or like commodity programs or elder meals, like Meals on Wheels type of things. Maybe like putting different little messaging papers to go in so people will just be aware, or stickers. And then lastly, we kind of debated a lot between the tribal radio or school messaging. Some of us agreed to disagree, but we went with mass school messaging, whether that is like the parent emails or the parent text messages or the parent calls. And then underneath that, we tucked in like gaming or basketball game announcements at different events, school events, because we know that if the kids are aware, maybe they'll go and have grandma and grandpa tell mom and dad, things like that. And then the reason that we kept out social media is because we feel like, yes, our younger population is really connected. Our 21 to almost 30-year-olds are really connected with social media. But on the same note, with the poverty and things like that often happen on reservations, these individuals likely don't have their own homes. So they're probably counted under grandma and grandpa or mom and dad who will be reached through these initiatives. So that's kind of what we came up with.
Good afternoon. I'm Brad Gangler with the City of Grand Forks. I'm a co-chair with our CCC with Stephanie back there, who's been quite the rock star in the process. I've had to do very little work, and she's been doing it all. So this drunk guy comes walking out of the bar. Wrong crowd. I do have some good jokes, but not here. We had a lot of good ideas. The first one of our categories was snowbird. I'm sure every North Dakota community has snowbirds of sorts. A lot of the folks on the east side of the state go to Arizona, which is probably pretty common. So the question is, how do we get to these people in Arizona? Because you know damn well the people in Arizona are saying, you're here on April 1st, so you're going to count here. And of course, we're back home saying, no, we get you. So out of all the different ideas we threw around, one idea was what if we were to put flyers in like hair salons in Arizona where these people are out, going for their hairdos, and then come up with the motto that, look good when you fill out the census kind of thing. So at this point in the game, everybody's pretty much stretching to come up with a lot of ideas. But one of our other categories was New Americans, which a lot of communities throughout the state have these populations. So we thought somewhat of an education process in terms of reaching out to them and essentially educating them on what the census means to us in the United States in terms of, I think it was already mentioned with fundings of programs and those types of things. But just to get that point across, that in order to help everybody, your neighbors, that we all need to be counted in order to get what's coming to us in terms of population. So those are our two main ideas.
We combined two groups into one on our side of the hall because one group ended up being very small, so that leaves us at 4 groups. We will add these rock star ideas, I guess we'll call them, for lack of a better term right now, to the list of that I'll compile, and we'll get it out to you. Gabby will get it out to you and so we'll reach out and you can use them how you see best. So are there any? We've got about 3 to 5 minutes for questions, and then we're going to start wrapping things up.
I lived all my life in Montana. I sell my house in Montana March 31st. I moved to North Dakota April 1st. Where do I fill out the census? In North Dakota or Montana?
Since you've permanently moved and it's only the first 3 months that you lived in the other state, you actually would be counted here in North Dakota. Correct. There's 9 months left in 2020. So this is why we have like a 14-page residency rule document, because it gets complicated. We try to make it simple, but for snowbirds that go someplace else, they might not be, let's say they leave here the middle of November. Maybe they don't leave until right after Thanksgiving because they spend it with their family. Then they go south to someplace warm, and they're still there on April 1st, but they're not quite there 6 months. Even though they're not physically here on April 1st, they should be counted here because in a given year, they're here more than 6 months, and they're only in the sunny place for 5 or whatever. So it gets complicated, and people want to say they live where they vote or their car's registered, and that's not necessarily the case. This has nothing to do with that. It's where you live the majority of the time.
Talked a lot about the updated data of self-response. Is that going to be available through the Roam online platform, or is that something that's available specifically to city leaders, state leaders? What does that look like?
So it's going to be on 2020census.gov. It will be a platform similar to like what you've seen with Roam. I have actually not seen the live. There is a demo out of it. I have not seen it yet because it's under development and they're finalizing it, but it'll be like on 2020census.gov. It's updated every day between 3 and 4 o'clock, and it will be 7 days a week until the end of May, and then we'll just go to 5 days a week starting in June. Because again, remember, we can still self-respond. So your competition, your March Madness competition, I don't know if you've got a cutoff date, because it could run all the way till July 31st, because people are allowed to self-respond all the way up till the end. But we will only do updates Monday through Friday starting in June.
Okay, so I wanted to follow up just a little bit on the March Craziness event. Is Stephanie still here? There she is. I think I've had a couple questions about what are we going to compare, and when we talk about response rate, it doesn't matter if it's Bowman or Grand Forks, although you wouldn't be in the same bracket, but it's not the number of people respond, it's what your response rate is, correct? The percent of your response rate. So the 16 largest cities, including Watford City, I believe, are automatically in that first bracket. Does everybody know who those are? I'm assuming. Okay, you'll get more from Steph on that. Then the next bracket, the other 16 cities are going to be volunteer first come, first serve, I believe, right? Yep. So encourage your neighbors. If you have some natural rivalries in sports, that might be kind of a fun thing to challenge your neighbor and get on Stephanie's other board. I would love to see them both filled. Our county effort is going to be not as much a competition, but a reporting on a weekly basis and updating, and we're calling it the Census Derby. And we're going to have little horses that move forward one from the other. So that'll be on our website and also on the state census website. So we're going to there will be a challenge, I guess, because we're only going to report on not 53, but probably the top 10 each week. But we're going to use response rates as well.
And with it being the Adobe, you got to get a good hat for that, for a picture.
I know I'm challenging my office because we're the Association of Counties that we're going to dress up in derby clothes, and I just know I'll be the only one that'll dress up in derby clothes.
I'll pay Linda. I'll pay Linda. Actually, I've got a question that was brought up to my attention was how do individuals who may not understand, since we deal with individuals with intellectual disabilities, can somebody help them fill out their census? Like a service provider or a guardian, caregiver?
When it comes to helping people with response, as an agency, our number one priority is confidentiality.
Right.
So if you read what partners can and can't do, in there it clearly says that the first thing is you can give them information about responding. And the first step then is they still say they want help. First suggestion we will make is that they call the telephone number to get assistance on the phone, or perhaps answer on the phone if they can't do it themselves. And then if they insist on being helped, you can do that as long as you are very clear you are not protected by Title 13 confidentiality, and you cannot uphold the same confidentiality privileges that we do in ensuring their data, and that they're giving it to somebody that doesn't have that. So we know that it's going to happen. We just are fearful that people won't understand that, hey, somebody help me with this. I thought my data was all protected by confidentiality if something should come down and happen down the road. Because we can only guarantee our data security through giving it to people who have been sworn and have to uphold the confidentiality rights.
So then my question is, as somebody who has limited language, especially with intellectual disabilities, how do we get them counted then? Because if they can't be on the phone, and being on the phone is an anxiety issue, you know, and I'm not going to answer the questions because this is too much for me. How are we going to get those individuals counted?
Then a census worker will visit the home where they are residing starting the 13th of May.
Okay.
And we will have a census employee that is sworn visit the house to collect all the information.
Perfect. Thank you.
We want to thank you for attending, taking the time, having the interest, being a servant leader, basically, a civic leader, and taking on the roles that you are within your communities, within your counties, and within the state, and it's greatly appreciated. We know that we want to be the top in the highest count in the nation, and it takes work, but we're up for the challenge, and we certainly appreciate it. So from my personal point of view, thank you for being here, and go forth and good luck.
What she said.